I love how we just, every time we see each other, we immediately put our arms up like that, like, okay, we're going to start fighting.
Hey, Annie, you got a 5 o'clock shadow. What happened? Ow. So what you guys didn't see is when playing the intro, Shane and I
obviously, as you can see, we've got Kelly. He's the poor man's George Michael.
Harsh, yet true.
Once again, there's harsh and there's observant. There's minimally observant. All right. So, welcome back to school, I guess. There's
back to school?
Or more appropriately, welcome back from summer vacation.
Vacation, yeah.
You've had your vacation, especially if you're in a school setting or some setting where you've got a lot of vacancies during the summer.
Yeah.
And then things are going to go into full swing. We see people come back and then go, okay, now, where was I again?
What was I doing? Yeah. Like, I think I drank and killed that brain cell.
Yeah.
Oh, no, maybe that's my vacation.
We're going to talk about a few things here. We will cover a little bit of inventory, but mostly inventory and DNS and stuff, which are big gotchas. Especially DNS are going to be in a forthcoming...
Yeah. We'll hit that one next week, actually.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But we will tangentially touch on those. So anyway, you open up PDQ deploy. Now, first of all, you might have an older version. We've had several releases, depending on if you're in education or something and how long you've been gone.
And if you're in Europe, I know you holiday for like a month, so you should check for updated versions and check your licensing, guys.
In fact, we had a new release just yesterday. It's the point release for deploy 10.2.
Grab that one, guys. It fixes a couple of bugs we found.
Yep, there's a lot of cool things. So, number one, you might open it up and see that you've got a new version. You also might open it up and find out that your license has expired. Maybe it expired while you were away. If that's the case, you're going to see your links down here on the status bar behind us.
Right behind you.
You'll see the links there. You don't need to move us because they're not there. You'll see links saying that you're out of support. And you need to, if you want to use the package library, you want that dynamic content, you're going to need to update.
A nice quick check, just go to preferences and licensing.
Yeah, you can do that. I'm going to hit Control, comma. Obviously, you can go to File Preferences and then License.
And just make sure you're correct,
and you'll see your information there. There's a renew subscription if you need to do that. But that's, I guess first and foremost, make sure that you're deploying your inventory. Have the current version, your license is active, so that you can
get all the latest and greatest. Yeah.
So, all right, so let's. I guess one of the things to look for. We're going to cover a couple of fairly popular use cases. All right, so here's one of them. Let's say you've got this old schedule. First of all, you can see you might need to prune your schedules. We only have 2 here, but you might come in and see, oh man, I've got some old Firefox and some old Adobes. If you had those schedules attached to a particular version, auto deploy would solve that. You might need to update that. You go into Firefox here. Oh yeah, I had deleted that package. It's no longer even here. So you might need to.
It's always a good idea to check those and make sure, since you've been gone, none of your colleagues have gone in and messed with you a little bit.
You can obviously disable a schedule, or you can always just delete it. Delete your schedules. Make sure that your targets are still there. Now, a lot of you have an infrastructure where you take existing machines and just reimage them, and maybe that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to reimage machines, and then here's a use case where people will take their new machines and place them in an Active Directory OU that is just kind of set apart.
For new machines. Yeah, basically.
It's set apart for new machines. And here's the problem. So we've got, let me just see if I'm going to run, do I have 80? Nope, I guess I don't.
Oh. Okay, so basically you got new machines. Now, new machines can come in like 2 different ways, right? One, it's a brand new machine with a brand new name you've never used. Or 2, you've got an old machine that's in the lab that's going to have the same name.
Yep.
And you reimaged it, and it's now a new machine, and you send a baseline.
That's an issue. So here we've got new computers. Let's say we've got these 4 computers that are now in here. However, some of these computers existed before we went on vacation. And as a result, they've been reimaged, so they don't have all that old software. But if you're using something like auto-deploy or schedules, remember, schedules have a computer history, and it's based off the computer name. So I'm looking at this new computer's OU. I just closed it. Sorry, JJ.
No need then.
All right, so I'm going to open up the Student Labs baseline. All right, this contains 3 packages, and this is auto deploy so that it always keeps with the latest packages that are available, depending on your approval, on your package approval settings.
Yep.
So Java Update 101, Firefox 48, which was just released a few days ago, and Adobe Flash plugin
22 something
209. Make that a little wider. So these are the latest packages. So let's just check this out. Okay, we have this schedule. Pardon me. We have the schedule set to run all week on weekdays. We have a weekly schedule, but it's set for weekdays at 8:05. But we don't. It's already past 8:05, so I'm just going to run this now. So what are you expecting to happen here?
Well, if this is running off the new
Yep, the targets are going to
new computers.
Yeah, we had a link to an Active Directory container, and so we're going to the new computers.
That should install that on all the new machines.
On those 4 machines,
Yeah.
right? All right, so this is your baseline. I'm just going to start the schedule so we don't have to wait until 8:05.
Tomorrow.
And we're going to come over here, take a peek. Looks like only 1 computer is getting deployed. Why is that? You're going, hey, I just reimaged this. I know they don't have it. They're
in the OU.
It's in the OU. Why isn't this happening? Well, you're talking about
Computer history.
You just came in. Remember, you had auto deployment set up. Maybe you just reimaged those computers, but yesterday they've received those packages already. So what you want to do is look at your schedule and take a peek at your computer history. In the computer history, you're going to see, oh yeah, we got a handful of computers: iCal, Carla, Win1032, Doherty. This check mark means that iCal already received Java Update 101. Well, it's been reimaged since then, so it doesn't have it. Doesn't matter. The computer history goes off the computer name. So there's a couple of things that you can do.
Didn't we add a new feature in here where we can delete it? Obviously, out of all the history.
Yes,
not only just this one.
You've obviously been able to come in. You've always been able to come into the computer history for this schedule and just say delete. Okay, so I've now deleted the iCal computer from Java. So the next time I run it, it'll get Java. But you can right click if you want and just say delete from all schedules. That will delete iCal. Delete this computer history for iCal. Yes, all gone. Let's do Carla. Delete from all schedules.
Again, this one came from, I think Jason brought this one up for us because of the way they were doing it.
Yeah, it used to be when you did this, you
delete
each one, or you could use a SQL command.
Yeah.
So we just deleted those 3 computers that were reimaged. Doherty's getting these right now.
Oh, it looks like it's successful.
Doherty's just got successful in Java. Okay. So now now if let's say the next day at 8:05, or I'm going to initiate this
once again.
Oh, and let's just make sure we don't have anything up our sleeves here. We got our new computers OU. I'm going to look at iCal. Sure enough, there is no Java, there's no Firefox, there's no Adobe Flash plugin. So now I'm just going to come back over here to this, and I'll say right-click, start schedule, and all attached packages. Take a peek at it, and now you should see that. Let's come back up here. There we go.
There's iCal.
iCal, Carla, Win10, yada yada yada. All right. So that's a gotcha right there. Is when you reimage machines and you keep the same name, you might have to go in
clean
to
the
the schedule and
yeah.
just clean that history out. By the way, if you guys have any questions, by all means,
throw down.
Throw down.
We can throw one up now if you don't.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was sleeping. Maybe next time you guys should wake me up before you go.
Warn you?
Gosh.
Okay.
So bad.
I'm trying to export
He's
my...
had that one chambered since I mentioned.
Oh, boy, I got more coming for you, too. I'm trying to export my All Computers collection to be able to import it to our CIO's install. Is this a feature that is only available to Pro or Enterprise subs? Blue Moon for ASMR.
I'm actually trying to understand that. I'm trying to export my All Computers collection to be able to import it to our CIO's install.
So this is probably
why
an
wouldn't
inventory.
you just go and sync your AD sync and grab them all that way on his install?
No, I'm trying to follow
I'm just trying to, yeah.
If you export a collection, there's when you export a collection, what you're doing is you're actually exporting the definition of that collection. Okay. I think what you're saying is you want to go into all computers, export all computers.
List all computers, maybe?
Export all computers is a special collection. It really is. I mean, it's a collection, but it's a special one. It's always going to be there, so you really can't export it. I think what you're talking about is you want to take your computers and add them, the computers in your inventory, and add them to your CIO's install. If you say install, I mean install of PDQ inventory. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, honestly, on your CIO's install, hopefully you have the appropriate number of licenses. I gotta say that. In your install, what I'd really recommend, Pro Mode and Enterprise. Pro Mode and Enterprise, you can use AD Sync.
Yeah.
That's in the preferences here, where you can come into Active Directory and you can specify the collections or the OUs or the security groups in AD that you want to sync. So computers that come into these synced containers are automatically placed into inventory. You can also exclude containers. So you could say everything from my root, I want all the computers from my root, I want in an inventory, except for computers that are in the domain controller's OU, except for computers that are in the disabled OU or something like that. Yeah. If you have free mode, then what you're going to need to do is just go into the computer, add computers, and
add them one at a time.
Yeah, you're going to be able to like by name. You can import a CSV file or something like that. You can take your computers, if you can do a save as a CSV or something, and then you can import from that file. But yeah, honestly, if you have Pro or Enterprise, definitely recommended that you
stick with the
AD Sync.
Yeah.
But you can get your files into all your computers into like a CSV or a text file. If you do a text file, it's got to be one computer per line. So computer name, computer name, computer name, computer name. Import that, and you should be good to go. Yeah. But I mean, seriously, do the AD Sync if you can. I mean, that's because AD Sync is great because once again, computers added. It's to AD. It's added here. It's removed from AD. It's removed here. You don't have to keep that. You don't have to keep juggling that back and forth.
Yeah. Should we hit another question?
Sure. Is there another one?
Got a question from Daniel W. And he says, you got to have faith on this one, my friends. We replace old computers after 3 years. What's the recommended way to find the computer's age using PDQ?
Find the computer's age?
Well, there's
a couple of ways I can think of. You could put a custom field in there.
Yeah, I mean, the custom field is a great way. It's one of those, it's kind of an initial hit up front.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep on top of that. To find a computer's age, you can look at, if you've always had that in AD, you can look, there's an attribute for the added, and you can create, let's take a peek at, see if we can see that from the computer here in Abraham. Active Directory created 3/13/2015. If you zoom in there, you can go. This doesn't necessarily show you the age because you could take an old computer and add it tomorrow to AD, and it would just show that. But that's one way. If you've added these computers, they've been there the whole time. You might want to look at the created. There is not a native field to look for that. This computer is this old. What Lex was talking about with custom field in inventory, you can go into preferences. You can go into your custom field. And let's create a new field, and we'll call this a date field, and we'll say, computer born. How's that sound?
This
is the day that it's born.
That is so lame.
Do you have some George Michael?
Something lame George
so
Michael reference?
You've got computer born, and it's going to be a date field. So that's defined in the preferences. Now you can go into a computer, go into custom fields, and just say the value for this is, and then here's your date. This was born on, May 4th of 2015. Wow. And you do that for the new computers as they come in. You can reference this in your collections, your reports. It's going to be under the computer table, and you'll see the computer born field in that table in those filters.
May the 4th be with you.
That's right. I did do May 4th, didn't I? That was not intentional.
You guys, well, the more I drink, the funnier you guys get. really.
Or as Adam says, both about Charlie and Lex, you know, when it comes to humor, Lex really knows Linux.
That is true.
All right. We're going to move on. Okay, so here's, we talked about the auto deployment baseline
For new machines.
New machines.
Yeah.
All right. Obviously, then you can have, let's just look at machines that have old versions of software. Maybe you didn't reimage them. They've just been sitting down all year long, and you need to update those.
Okay.
So let's create, I'm going to close the inventory. Let's go back into our package library. Well, first of all, I think you said we've got some computers in the working that are old. So let's take a peek at Costanza. Probably has an old Firefox. Is that what it is? Oh, Java, Firefox.
Java's old, Firefox is old. And surprisingly enough, so is Flash.
Okay, so perfect. So remember, when you're starting to do, when you're going to start basing your targets off of an old version of software, it's important not to bundle.
Exactly. You got to do them individually.
Yeah, don't.
Because every time you get someone who's got an old version of Flash and you got Flash and Java, you don't want to have to deploy Java again on top of itself. So
we look at our all schedules. What we're talking about, we have 3 different PDQ deploy packages in this schedule. So you don't want your targets for this one to be something like Java old version collection, because that's also going to be installing Firefox and Flash.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're going to create a couple of different schedules here. So I'm going to go to the package library.
Now, do auto deployment. You got to start that from the package library.
Go to Firefox. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
So Firefox, it's at 48. New auto deployment, there's that button there. And instead of attaching it to an existing schedule, we're going to create a new one. And we'll just call this one Firefox latest.
Now, a couple of things to think about with your intervals, right? I mean, you can run it once a week, which is great. You can run it daily if you want. What about you guys who've got people coming in and out with laptops? Probably ought to consider putting a heartbeat on there.
Correct. So let's do this. We're going to do this. Let's just do this every day at 5 p.m. How's that sound? We're going to do it every day at 5 p.m. This is going to kick off.
That sounds so unintrusive. I'd do it at like 9:30 when everyone's actually doing work.
We're also going to hit a heartbeat. What that means, you have to have inventory for this, but that means when a computer in inventory goes from an offline status to an online, inventory has to see that it's offline.
We're both doing the fingers the same.
It has to go from offline to online. Once that does that trigger of changing that online state sends that information to deploy and says, hey, by the way,
if you got anything in a heartbeat status for this guy,
yeah, the computer stands up. Is there anything waiting for him? So that's a great way of getting those machines that aren't around at 5 in this case. What targets are we going to do? Well, we're doing Firefox. So we're going to go link to, we're going to do PDQ inventory collection. And let's go to applications.
I just want to point out,
collection
link
library.
to is a dynamic collection. If you go and select from a collection, you make a static list. So make sure you link to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Firefox. We'll do the 32-bit Firefox. And there's a collection called Mozilla Firefox 32-bit old. All right, so we'll say OK to that. All right, and let's take a peek, by the way, and just see who's in that old. I'm going to expand the collection library, go to applications. And you don't have to use the collection library for this. You can use your own collections that you've created. Just so you know.
Collection library makes it so easy.
Collection library is nice because if the application's tracked in there, then we keep that up to date. So make this a little wider here. So we have 9 machines that have the latest version. No, pardon me, 32. 48 is the version, so it's got either 48 or later. And old, we've got 39 machines that have old.
Wow.
All right. So if we were to run this right now, it would run against 39 machines.
Shame on us for having that many old.
I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. But now we've got our Firefox latest. I'm going to open this back up. Once again, there's your triggers. Boom, boom. Your targets. It goes to all the computers in that collection. Options, yada, yada. Now, we do keep it's recommended generally to hit the stop deploying to computers once they succeed. Which, by the way, I'm going to hurry and go back to this. This is why those 3 computers initially failed. Is because they had to stop deploying to computers once they succeed.
Check
if
history,
you don't
they were
have
there.
that checked, anytime the schedule kicks off, it's going to go to those targets, whatever
Everybody's
is listed,
in that
and it's going to
list.
attempt to install. So you could be trying to install the same thing over and over, but Generally speaking, when you're deploying software, you want that checked.
Yep.
When you're doing other things like people have packages to reboot machines on a weekly basis, you don't want that checked.
Remove the Ask toolbar. That's my personal favorite.
Yeah, you don't want that checked on those cases because you want that to run even if they've received it before that particular schedule. Anyway, so Firefox latest, we've got our targets set, our triggers, the options. There we go. There's our credentials. The packages, could we add additional packages to this? Yes. The cool thing about auto deploy, the next version of Firefox that comes out, depending on your approval settings, the default is 7 days. Once those auto approval settings have been met, that new version will automatically be attached here.
The next schedule run?
The computer history gets reset because the computer history is based on the package and the version. So 4801 comes out, any computer that's received that, good to go. So if we were to actually run this right now, it would go to like 39 machines.
Yep.
All right. Do we have any questions on that?
Yeah, JJ?
Not on that, but we do have some questions if you're interested in taking them.
Let's take a question.
Okay, Matt V has a hard-hitting question. I mean, it just came like wham. Get it? Wham.
Oh my. That's right. JJ, will you please
punch him, man.
Kick,
Fade.
claw,
I'm fading him out.
groin stuff. I don't know. Hit him.
Is there a way to shut down a PC remotely, but making it do Windows updates first?
Okay, so I don't know if there's a way to via the shutdown command. If there is, please enlighten us, everybody.
Yeah.
I'd like to know. What you can do, there's depending on if you're using WSUS, you could run the WUACLT, the WUAUCLT client.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you run that from deploy?
Yeah,
Sure,
you can.
run it from a command line.
So you could do
also,
that and then
you
do
could-
a shutdown step.
Yeah, you could. The problem is if you do that in deploy and you run that, the shutdown's going to supersede what WUACLT.
As soon as it runs, it's going to say it's done.
Yeah.
You'll be pulling updates, and then all of a sudden the shutdown will run.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's...
I'm going to open up, so we go WUAUCLT, switches. So yeah, you can see there's detect now, there's update now.
Your Google foo is good.
You often have to do a /A or a /reset authorization. Sometimes that's just required. You'll run this command and it won't update. It just needs to reset the authorization with the WSUS server. So you could do this. What I would suggest doing if you really want to run this is have like two schedules. One that kicks off, say, at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
and runs it runs a couple of commands. It runs the reset authorization. There's also, it doesn't show it here. There's the reset authorization, and then you want to do a detect now, /detect now. If you can zoom in on that, I'm not sure if you can. /detect now, and then after that, you could do a /update now, right there. So yeah, maybe 3 commands, and sometimes people will do /report now. That will also help, but run a couple of those commands, and then wait like an hour, and then have your other schedule kick off to do a reboot. That's something that I would recommend. But if there is a way, I would like to know. I don't know.
The thing about it with the registry and the file, it'd be interesting if you could tell it was still running, and then just run the...
Is an hour too quick, though?
Depending on how many updates you've got. I mean,
yeah.
that's why I say if we had a registry, if the file or registry, if you could tell from that
Started
that it was
at 8
done
PM
running
and then-
or it wasn't,
and then do the
maybe check
shutdown
the
at like
process.
Sure, kick it off and then reboot. Or if you have WSUS set to to apply at 3 a.m., have your reboot kick off at 5.
Yeah.
On a schedule, and that's probably the best way to do it. From the shutdown, I don't know. You know what? I would actually like to know if there might be some PowerShell magic that Chris knows about
I'm sure there is.
to do that. But here's your shutdown. I don't think that there is a way to say, hey, if you've got updates, do them.
going.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Stump the chump. So I don't know.
There you go, stumped the chump.
If I really had to do it, since we do use WSUS, I would do what I mentioned and combine a schedule with the WUAUCLT and then the shutdown.
Yeah.
I'm actually really surprised that Chris hasn't bounded in here like Kool-Aid Man and gone, "There's a way! PowerShell!"
Oh, he probably saw a corgi walking across the street and
possible.
just pressed up
Super
against
distracted.
the window. You guys remember that South Park where Walmart came to town and everybody fell in love with it? And even Randy couldn't sleep because he realized at night he was missing cells.
Yeah.
And you see him get up and open the curtains and look out.
Just watch
Look
this-
out, you can
this
see
glow
Walmart.
of
He
Walmart.
just lifts up his shirt and presses up against the window of, oh, there's Walmart. That's how Chris is when he sees a corgi pass.
And I want Chris to know I like
Cold
corgis
glass,
too.
the cold glass
If
on
you
his
cook
belly.
them right.
That will cause him to bound in here.
Yeah, here comes Kool-Aid Man.
All right.
You guys know another thing you can do. We're going to cover this a little bit next week. Purging those old machines and inventory, very important. That's where the AD sync comes in. Go to File Preferences or Control Comma Active Directory. I'm going to say Auto Sync enabled or just sync now, and delete those old computers that are no longer in there. Just another way of just cleaning up your environment. You might see target name mismatch. We're going to cover that a little bit next week. That's with your DNS.
Yeah.
It's DNS.
DHCP leases. I mean, there's a
Make sure you've got
handful of things.
Make sure you've got scavenging enabled. It's just, and then you can have all these new computers popping in at the same time. It's it can be a little hardcore. We have another question. All right, rock on.
Dear Shane and Lex, Win 10 Edge is driving me to the edge. Any package to uninstall it or one coming. It's killing me slowly, kind of like a careless whisper. Cindy S.
I love you. That's all I can say.
Wow. Yeah, you
All
worked
right,
it in. I have to high five.
Win
me.
10 Edge is driving me to the edge. Remember Windows Me?
You're very.
Yeah.
Yes.
Millennium?
Couldn't die quickly enough.
That abortion.
Package to uninstall it.
You know
Let's
what?
see.
I don't know. There might be that'd be a question for Jeremy Moskowitz. There might be a group policy. If it would be a group policy available in the enterprise version, perhaps the education, probably not the pro. But there might be a group policy to hide that. I don't know that you can remove it. I don't know. I haven't tried that. I'm sorry. So if it's driving you crazy, is it just because people are using it and you don't want them to, or they're using it instead of your preferred browser? I don't know. Yeah, it's bundled. There's probably a way to disable it. There might be. Well, let's see. Let's just take a quick peek here. This computer's called Guinness.
Jordan.
There it is. Good. Because I was going to say we're going to go down into Windows features, and I'm just going to do a search for Edge. Nope, it's not in there. All right. So there's Get App. So Jordan Hammond. Hey Jordan. Looks like he's doing PowerShell. Get App Package. Can we place that? Can we place that somewhere so they can see that?
The chat?
Yeah, so
Why don't you
there's
just go ahead?
the all users Edge remove app X package. So that might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, just copy and
I'm
paste
going to
that
copy
in
and
there.
paste that. So here's what Jordan, PowerShell extraordinaire, wrote.
Notepad.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's-
So he wrote that. Can you do? I'll do,
Can you
I'll
can you
do
lower
WordPad.
that down just a tiny? Well, no, it's
I'll just
cancel.
do WordPad.
Yeah, all right.
WordPad.
No, that would have worked. I just needed you to move it down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So here's what Jordan wrote, and this. So you could use a. Make that a little bigger here.
I'm just gonna. move
So you
that
could
up.
write that. It's one line. There we go.
There we go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jordan. Hopefully, I mean, don't
Hopefully that works.
test it
Jordan.
out. Test it out. If not, we can scream at Jordan. But yeah, it looks like that might do it. So you've got. Remember, if you've got your power, if you've got deploy 9, where we introduce the PowerShell step, you
Put that in there.
you can actually run this to say get at package yada yada. I'll use Edge. That might do it for you. Hey.
Sweet.
I thought it might be a Windows feature or a component that you could do, but good. Thank you very much, Jordan. Hopefully that answers your question.
PowerShell for the win again, I guess.
PowerShell for the win again. Oh man. You know what? You're just pumping Chris up. We're gonna have to discuss it over lunch now. Yeah.
Oh, is that what he's doing? Rock on. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching. Hopefully we answered your questions. Check back next week because a lot of the deployments are still contingent on inventory, contingent on being able to find those targets.
Contingent on a clean DNS, really.
Yes. So check in next week. It'll be for sure Lex, maybe Chris, maybe me. Who knows? We'll be there to rock and roll. If you have any questions, by all means.
Rock, paper, scissors to see who's doing it next week?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
That sounds good. As long as Kelly doesn't bring out any more George Michael references, we'll all be good. Hey, cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Skull.
That was good scotch.
Thanks for joining the webcast today. Congratulations to Adam M. and Cindy S., winners of our PDQ swag. If you'd like to send us an email, webcast@adminarsenal.com. We'll send that out to you. And don't forget to hit up our support forums if you have any additional questions. And please join us next week for part 2 of prepping your machines and your environment for back to work and back to school. Thanks, everybody.